Welcome to the show, everybody. Today, I am super excited to be talking with you about how to live stream your teaching. You'll notice today that I'm really casual. I got the sweatshirt and the hat on. Why? Because it's all about behind the scenes today. So I get loads of questions about how I do what I do. And today I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to focus on how I do what I do in terms of live streaming. So, one of the major questions I get, right, is how I put myself over different backgrounds and things like that. You probably won't be surprised to know that. In fact, this is not my actual office in the background. And so part of what I'm doing right now as I'm fooling around on the computer is setting these different backgrounds and stuff like that. So one of the things that I'll be showing you throughout the show is how you can do different things like this so that you mix it up and have fun with your live streaming. So today's show is going to be focused mostly on nuts and bolts. I'm going to show you some different hardware, talk about some of the different hardware options that you might want for live streaming. I am by no means a big gearhead with my live streaming gear. So all the stuff that I have is totally affordable. And I'll be showing that to you. And there are also links in the video description if you're interested in checking them out. And then I'll also be talking about the software that I use to live stream and showing you how I do that. And one of the pieces of software that I use to live stream that I'm using right now is Restream. Restream also is a sponsor of this show, so thank you, Restream. And as part of that sponsorship, we're also going to do a little giveaway. So there's a link in the video description. If anybody signs up for a Restream account, which you can do for free in the video description, then we're going to enter your name in a giveaway and you can get 6 months for the pro version of Restream. And what I'll do on the next show is announce the winner of that. So check out the link to Restream in the video description, and I'll be showing you how I use Restream. And I'll also be showing you how I use another program called Ecamm, which is a program for Mac. And those two programs work together, Restream and Mac, allowing me to do what I'm doing here. So really excited to be on this show with you today. Just a reminder, idea with a live show is that you can ask questions and drop those in. So please do that. And, right now I even want to show some of the cool things, right, that I can do with Restream and Ecamm, both these programs together, allowing me to do fun things like pull in comment that's right, on the screen and stuff like that. So all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with this different software. And as some of you know, if you've been following the channel for a while, I'm relatively new to live streaming. This is the 15th show now that I've done. I started back in October. And so I'm very much just kind of learning the ropes with the world of live streaming. So I'll kind of talk you through some of that stuff and what I've learned as well. And I just want to start today by talking about some reasons why you might want to live stream. So I think there's really kind of two bucket categories about why you would want to do it. So one is if you kind of want to do what I do, right? So live streaming can be a means of sort of putting out like a digital business card that is visual, right? And allows you to interact with your audience. So that's why I decided to do it because obviously I have my video tutorials on my channel. I have lots of questions coming through on those videos. I wanted to be able to present information in a different format that was longer form as well, where I could dig a little bit deeper, talk about more of the pedagogy behind some of the tools and strategies that I was using, but also interact live with people in the audience. So that, in some ways it's almost like a visual interactive podcast is kind of how I've started to think about what live streaming is. And, the market right now is really saturated in terms of educational podcasts. There's all kinds of great ones, but there's a lot of room for high quality educational streaming that's more teacher facing. So doing kind of teacher professional development through live streams is obviously what I do. And that might be a reason why you would want to live stream. By the way, if that is something that you're interested in chatting more about, I'd love to talk with you about how I could potentially help you with that. So there's a link in the video description as well that you could click on to book a call if that was something you were interested in. Now, another reason that you might want to live stream is if you're teaching remotely or if you are teaching in more of a hybrid situation where you have to be streaming out or in some way showing students who are not physically in the room with you what you're doing while you're teaching. So why would you want to stream instead of just doing something via Zoom? I'm going to show you in the show today how you can set up live streaming to do all kinds of different things that you just simply cannot do with a program like Zoom. You can actually live stream through Zoom and bring in these other different features, but you cannot set up scenes. You can't add text overlay in the same way that you can with live streaming. You can't do fun things like little applause in the stream, or like I had the image in the beginning with music and switch to a video and then really quickly switch over to a screen share and then back to you talking and things like that. So the live streaming software just allows you to do all kinds of stuff that you obviously cannot do with just regular Zoom. So let's dive in and learn about how to live stream. Okay, so the first thing, obviously, that I want to be clear about so everybody knows is that I'm using a green screen right now, right? So actually behind me, this is what it looks like. I have full green behind me, and this, text that you see over here with my live streaming software, I can also choose whether or not I want to show it. So I can easily bring that in and hide my name, things like that. And then I can easily also turn on this green screen. And like I showed in the beginning as well, I can also very easily just switch over to a different type of background as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use this green screen, also how to get your green screen to look better. Because sometimes you might have seen people's green screens that have a lot of like green seeping around them. And that's a trick that you have to perfect. And I'm still very much in the process of doing that. But there are some ways you can get a better image so that you don't have a lot of bleeding green around you. Okay, now another thing that you'll notice about what I am doing right now is that I am streaming, or you might not notice this, but I am streaming to multiple platforms at the same exact time. So I'm streaming right now to Facebook, I'm streaming to Twitter, and I'm streaming to YouTube. And I do this by using Restream. So I'm going to show you Restream first because I set up my streams in Restream. And then what I do is I get into the Ecamm Studio to do some of these different effects that I'm showing you here. All right, so let's hop over here, put on my home office. That's a beautiful office in the background. Wish mine looked like that. Okay, so let's hop over here and take a quick look at Restream. So first of all, I'm going to have to take this off, which I can easily do as well, my other image, because you'll see that that's going to like kind of blow minds to have too much of that. I don't want to have the image on the image is it's too meta. So, okay, what you can see here in the Restream Studio is that what you can do is set up different events. You can set up future live streams. So right now you'll see that I have obviously a live stream going on right now. And what I will do before I live stream is create an event. And I will schedule the live stream. And so I'm actually going to schedule one right now. So next Thursday, I'm going to be having a stream called Digital Portfolios with Students. So I'll write that in. And then I'm also going to put a description in here, and later I can go back and add more to this. So I'll just say something like learn all about how to create and use digital portfolios with students. Now, what I'm going to do after this is change the date. So this, I'm not going to go streaming now. I'm going to stream next Thursday, the 18th. And then I'm going to also schedule this to be at 4 p.m. Okay. So I'll schedule that. And then what I'm going to do here is upload an image. And this is how I get the little thumbnail to show up as well. So we have an image that I designed in Adobe Spark Post. And then what's going to happen when I schedule this is that this image will show up. So when you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see that this shows up right away. And then you'll also see at the top of my Facebook page that that is going to show up as well. This is Periscope, and it doesn't show up right away on Periscope. It just goes to Twitter Live. So I'm going to create this event, and then very soon, if not right now, you will be able to see on the top of my YouTube page that we have a scheduled event. So it's actually as simple as that. And there are different options with Restream for different channels where you could stream to. So you can see here that I've set up YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook, but you can also stream to lots of other places. So here you can, stream to Twitch, for example. You can stream to LinkedIn, all kinds of other streaming platforms on here as well, that have different functions and things like that. Obviously, I'm not going to be streaming to Major League Gaming, but if you were a gamer, there's all kinds of places where you could stream on here as well. So what's so great about Restream is that it allows you to just blast out the stream to tons of different channels and be able to stream in multiple places at the same exact time. Let's go ahead and put me back on there. All right. So now that I have scheduled in Restream, what I do is I connect my Restream with a program called Ecamm. And Ecamm is similar to OBS. So if you're familiar with OBS, then it's kind of like OBS, except it's only available for Mac. And it allows you to do some more things like what I just showed, where I have myself over the top of the video where I'm using a green screen effect. Now, before I show you that, I do just quickly want to show you here as well. You don't actually have to do that. So you can go into the Live Studio. So if you go into Live Studio here, then Restream has its own Live Studio where you can come in and you can create all kinds of different effects, just like I'm showing through Ecamm as well. So, here we have a background on, and I can, do all kinds of other things like add my caption that's going to pop in over here on the side. And let me put myself back on there again. So, for example, I have, Sam Carey on here that is going to show up as a little animation that I can have come in, and my graphics that I can set up in here as well with, a logo, overlay, video, different backgrounds that you can put on here. So there's all kinds of stuff that you can do within the Restream Studio. And it would be a great option for folks if you don't necessarily need to do the green screen effect, right? You just want to be able to jump into one place and have everything in a single location. Then just doing it straight out of Restream, where you can actually just build everything in there, would be a great choice for you. But I do want to show you what this all looks like in Ecamm, which is what I use. And so what I'm going to do here is jump over to live demo mode. And what you're going to see will be my entire screen in just a second, so that I can show you how this all works. So what you see now is basically what I'm seeing, right? Obviously without, I'll pull up the screen share as well in a second so you can see what that looks like. So you can see here that I have all of my different elements of the Ecamm Studio. So at the top here, I have these scenes, and close that out so we don't have too much double me on there. So all these different scenes allow me to show different things. So if I were to click on, so you saw how when I go over to those different screens, that it allows me to jump back and forth, right? I can go to my graphic, I can go to my video, I can go to my intro right here. I can go back over to a screen share and then hop over to this different mode. So all these different screens are something you can set up beforehand in Ecamm and structure how you want your live stream to look, right? Now, you'll see also within all of these that different things that I can add, different elements that I can add as well. So we see right now, right, that I have some text over the top and that I have like a logo at the bottom and my name and things like that. So that's all stuff that you can bring in. So when you're here in the studio, the way that this is going to look is, I'm gonna bring myself back in there, is that you'll have a little, an area right here. So there's an overlays tab. And right now, the only overlay that I have is my camera. But if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to bring in some additional text, I could add some text here and add my name. And then that's also going to be overlaid. And then I can move that around. So, when I have my name here, for example, at the bottom, that's how I'm doing that. I'm just adding the text and then resizing it and changing the color to put it wherever I want it to go. Similarly, you can keep that there and then you can just bring it back in as you want it. And you can do other things. So you can bring in different images as well. So when I bring in, for example, and I have that as a background, all I'm doing is bringing that in as an image by adding it here as an image. So these different scenes are just very easy to build and very easy to rearrange. You can also add new ones very easily by just clicking the add button, and that will add a new one. So here I am right in the green screen. Now, with these scenes, you can also do other things. So I want to show you equipment that I have right now. And I want to show you a way that you can do this. So you'll see here that I have up at the top, if I'm looking at that screen mode, the ability here to change when I'm on this particular screen. I can change the video input that is coming in for this particular scene. So what I'm going to do is, rather than have the video input coming through my webcam, I can also do things like plug in an iPad. So, I have an iPad right here and I can plug that in. And then what I can do is change the input so that it's actually going to be taking input from my iPad instead, right? So now if I wanted to model, if I want to show something that's going to point up on Siri right now on my computer, if I wanted to show, model on my iPad, I can just easily plug that in. I can choose that as one of my video inputs. Now, similarly, something else that you can do is plug in something like an external webcam. So I'm going to use the webcam right now to show you some of the equipment that I'm using. First of all, I do just want to mention this right in front of me right here. That's just the webcam that is installed on my computer. Some people, obviously, you're going to see live streams that have all kinds of different camera setups where they're switching to different camera views and things like that. I don't do that, right? I just am using the webcam straight off of the computer as opposed to setting up multiple cameras. one option would be that you could plug in an external camera, and I'll show you what that's going to look like in a second. So if you have a lower quality camera, you could plug in an external camera. This one, it's an Unzano HD 600. It's just one that I got off Amazon, not particularly expensive. What I do like about it though is that it has a light on it. So if you did need some light and you didn't have great lighting, you could light that up and it will give you a little bit better lighting. So particularly if you have a laptop and the internal webcam isn't that great, or the internal camera isn't that great, you could use an external webcam to get a higher quality image if you didn't kind of want to go the next level and actually plug in an external camera. Okay, so the other piece, in addition to the camera, and I'll show you that camera view in just a second here, is also a microphone. So microphone is optional. I use a microphone. This is a Blue Yeti microphone. These are very popular with podcasters in particular. Just gives your voice a little bit more of a resonant sound, but totally optional. You don't have to use them to restream, or to stream, I should say. And this microphone is on a boom arm. So you'll see a couple of different types of microphones. I actually put a link to another one called a Blue Snowball, which it sits on top of a desk as opposed to on a boom arm like this. The reason why you might want a boom arm, let's go off just on green screen right there, is just so that I'm able to move it around and so that it doesn't pick up vibration off of the table. So a lot of people use these people who are doing podcasting or live streaming so that it's not picking up that vibration sound that's coming off the table. And then the last thing that I have here is a pop filter. So the purpose of the pop filter is to filter out popping noises. So if I'm, saying P's or T's, those tend to have a hard sound that will come through more harshly without the pop filter. So it's just filtering out some of those harder sounds so that you're not hearing those when they're coming in. Just note, and this is something that I do sometimes mistakenly, is that sometimes I will get too close to the microphone, and then when I'm talking into the microphone, it still doesn't sound very good. So if you start using a microphone, you might want to use headphones so that you can monitor your own sound so that you can hear what it actually sounds like when it's coming through the microphone, which is why I wear the headphones. So that's also totally optional. Now, what is not optional if you plan to green screen is a green screen. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a second. So I basically have behind me a wall of a green screen. I use the green screen for my videos, and then I also use it for live streaming. So I just have it all the time as well. And if you are green screening, it's really important to have good lighting. So I mentioned in the beginning that one of the errors that you'll see, and sometimes even, they'll show up in some of my videos as well if I didn't do it properly, is that you'll see a lot of seeping. It doesn't look so good if people do not have their lighting taken care of. So the thing with lighting is that you want to have good dispersed lighting that's hitting the green screen. And then you also want to have a key light that's shining on you so that it's creating some separation between you and the green screen. So what I'm going to do here is show you actually through this webcam that I have hooked up what this looks like. So here I am. You can see I'm actually in this like unfinished room right now where I've been making all my videos since no longer being able to make them in the classroom anymore. Behind me here, I just have this green screen, and I believe I put a link to this in the video description. It's just a regular old pop-up green screen. And then I have this softbox light here. I have one of these on each side, and these just throw out diffuse light to the green screen so that it's not, blowing out the color in one particular area. And then in addition, I also have this key light up here that's just shining down on my face. And that's what allows me to get a little bit better, more crisp image so that when I put on the green screen there, it, looks pretty solid. It's actually, you could potentially be convinced that I'm sitting in that office, right? So not particularly fancy equipment. You'll watch some people who do streaming videos that have like a whole big crazy studio set up. I don't have that. You can do it with pretty basic stuff. These are like the cheapest possible softbox lights I think that you can get. The key light is a little bit higher quality that I have in front of me, but again, the green screen that I have in back of me is totally no big deal as well. Okay, so let's look here again at I'm going to go here back to the studio and just want to show as well how I do the effect where I put myself over the screen share. That's like one of the #1 things that people ask me how I do it. So what I'll do is I'll set up a new scene. And when I'm setting up, sorry, I won't toggle over to that. When I'm setting up the new scene, I will pull up a web page that I want to share. And then I actually have to kind of arrange it over here so that it's perfectly kind of centered on the page, or not actually centered, sort of positioned on the page. And I have to play around with this usually quite a bit beforehand. And then what you can do is on here, you can make it so that your image is also showing up. So you're adding the video that's coming over the top. And then when I go actually into screen share here, because I have that video on, then my video is going to show up over the top. And because I have the green screen, that is allowing me to be on top of the screen. So this is basically the same thing that I do when I make my tutorials as well, where I'm using a green screen and I filter out the green. So Ecamm right now is doing that for me, where it's filtering out the green, so that literally all I have to do is hit a button. I'll show you what that looks like here. There's just a box that I check that says green screen, and I check that. And if it's unchecked, then the green shows up. And if it's checked, then I have my green screen background. If I wanted it to be transparent picture in picture, I just check that. And here I am, transparent picture in picture, right? So very easy to do. So then, what I'll do during my shows is just essentially toggle back and forth so that here I am over the top of this screen. And then I can also just toggle back over here as well. So let's say, you don't want to deliver PD, you want to teach. How would this be useful? So let's say that you do have an activity where you're doing something like Google Jamboard, right? And you want to present Google Jamboard to students. You have students maybe coming into your class virtually, and they are all going to jump into this Google Jamboard. We could do a Google Jamboard lesson like this, the way that I'm doing it, right? I could even give my explanation, give some instructions the way that I'm doing it right now, and then jump over, have students all jump in, get on the link, and then I would be able to also demo for them, what they would be doing on Google Jamboard. And then they could all get in and we could all be talking about it, and we could even be discussing things through the chat. So if you're live streaming to YouTube, you could set up a private YouTube channel, for example, that only students will be able to access. So it's not a live public channel. And by the way, what I'm showing right now, Digital Interactive Notebooks and Google Jamboard, is previewing my next video that's coming out on Sunday. So look out for that. But could just be a fun way to do things differently, to set up a different structure for the way that you are presenting your lessons, and deliver it in a way that I think actually would have a pretty significant wow factor in terms of engagement, particularly for students who are outside of class. And one thing I would really encourage, if you're going to do this, is to think about how you can still step away from, more quote unquote traditional teaching. So it's not necessarily that you want to be live streaming your teaching, and that just means that you're still standing in front of like your physical classroom and just lecturing or something. So you still want to bring in these interactivity tools so that students can jump in, they can participate, they can interact with the work that you're doing, but you're live streaming it and you're presenting it in this much more structured, systemized way than you could with Zoom. Okay, so I'm going to take some questions right now and then show some other things if questions come up about how live streaming works. So one is whether or not, so this is a great question, whether or not you can use live streaming with Google Meet. Hold on one second, I just need to pull this in. So can you use live streaming to enhance Google Meet classes? Yeah, so you can essentially, just like I showed, where you can put yourself over the top of, I keep going to the iPad right there. Hold on. Let's see, like this. So you could effectively, stream where you're showing your Zoom or your Google Meet meeting. You could stream that way. If you watched any of my previous videos where I've interviewed people, I've basically pulled those in through Zoom, coming through my live streams as well. So you could live stream that way. There is a built-in streaming feature in Google Meet, but all that's going to do is just stream what you currently have in Google Meet. It's not going to allow you to set up these different scenes or stream out to multiple places or anything like that. So if you wanted to be able to do that, where you're streaming to lots of different locations, then you would need to use Restream and or Ecamm to be able to build scenes like this and stream to multiple places. So it's not going to work just using Google Meet. Okay, so this is, let's go here to a question about cost. So Restream has a free program. You can stream for free with Restream. It has some limitations, things like the number of guests that you could bring in, it will have like a Restream brand on it, things like that. But as with everything, I recommend give the free version a go, see what you think, and then you would, purchase it if you think that you want access to the paid version. Ecamm is not free. So, and Ecamm, again, is only available for Mac. And I don't recall, there is a link in the video description. To be completely honest, I don't remember exactly how much it is, but you can get it like for a year at a time. Ecamm is definitely, it's kind of, it's a little bit more of a commitment in terms of getting into. If you're going to, get started, I would recommend just jumping into Restream so that you can jump right into the studio and start playing around with the tools in there and be able to have it in one easy place. Okay, so next question here is about how Restream integrates with Ecamm. So it's incredibly easy, actually. So basically what happens when and I'll show this here, it's going to be a little bit tricky to show because I'm actually in a stream right now. But when you're in, what you'll see here where my mouse is that it says finish. There's a blue finish button. But if you were to click on that and when you're not actually streaming, it's going to give you a list of different destinations and you can just select Restream. So once you have a Restream account, you literally just sign into Restream and then it allows you to either just stream on the fly or you can pick a scheduled stream. And by the way, this what we're looking at right now also shows what I can see through Restream, where I'm able to see all of the different comments and questions that are coming through. So on the right here, you can see all of the questions that are coming from different platforms. So you can see, I can tell that they're coming from YouTube or from Facebook, for example. It looks like most of them are from YouTube, but there's one from Facebook as well. And that's one of the benefits of Restream. So it pulls them all into a single location. And then Restream will allow you to do this in their studio where you can put the comment up on top. And Ecamm lets me do that too, where I can put the comment or question directly on top of the screen as they're all coming pulled through the different platforms. So I love that feature. That to me is the wow factor of this. I absolutely love that it streams to multiple places, and then I can see all these different comments coming through at the same time. Okay, so Janice, thank you for your question. This is which program, which live streaming software do I recommend? So yeah, I definitely recommend the two that I use. So again, I use Restream. And Restream allows me to stream out to multiple platforms at the same time, allows me to pull in all the comments at the same time. They also have a studio in Restream that you can use that's really awesome, highly functional, very beginner friendly, allows you to bring in text and animations and similar stuff to what I'm showing you here. And then if you want to be using a green screen and you want to have that effect, then I do like Ecamm. I know a lot of people use OBS as well, particularly if you're a Windows user, because Ecamm is only for Mac computers. But I would say Restream and Ecamm because that's what I use. Okay, so yeah, this is another good question. This is about both these programs. So yes, they are totally different, but they have a full integration. You can use one without the other. So they just have some differences. And basically by using them together, you can get like full functionality, really everything that I personally want, but that not everybody might necessarily need. So with Restream, you can build exactly everything like I'm showing here, where you can have a video and all kinds of stuff coming through at the beginning. You can still do things like screen share as well. The only difference is that you would not be able to green screen yourself over the top like I'm doing here. So because I want that effect, I'm using Ecamm with Restream. And if you just use Ecamm, you would not be able to stream out to multiple platforms. So I'm using Restream to be able to push this stream out to numerous places. And another benefit of Restream is that you can just get started on it for free and use it for free. And so it doesn't have that entry level if you want to do something like Ecamm. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad I answered your question. Yes, I love this question here or this comment about the green poster. Yes, so you do not have, this is a great point. Thank you, Bridge, that you do not need to have a green screen like I have in the background here. You can get this effect by just putting up like green paint or a green poster. The issue with a poster, and the reason why this type of screen is desirable, is because it's relative. You can see how it's very smooth. So if this gets crinkly at all, then that potentially is going to show up, which is why actually a evenly painted green wall would not be a bad option. It just needs to be the same exact uniform green color. And can't have any wrinkles and stuff like that in it. So some people, if you have like a screen like this, you'll actually need to iron it so that it is really flat and doesn't have little sections that are going to pop out and show up in a weird way. All right, so just going to continue to look through these questions, and please let me know if you do have any questions, and also as the questions are coming through, just a reminder that I am going to be doing, in collaboration with Restream, a giveaway for 6 months for the pro version, totally for free. So if you sign up for Restream with the link that's in the video description, then we will pull your name and I will be announcing who won the 6-month free in the next show. So check it out and see if that's something that you'd be interested in. There's a comment about my hat here. Yes, and again, going casual today with the behind the scenes look. Okay, great. So question here is, I'm glad you asked this question. Can you use Canva to drag and drop backgrounds with Restream or Ecamm? Absolutely. So this background that you're seeing, is very easily changeable here. So you can really pick, you can choose from a different file. And all of these are pre-built in Ecamm. You can even see there's like a little, that's actually animated behind me. You could bring these in from Canva or Adobe Spark Post so that you have a different background. And that's actually what I do for the thumbnail in the beginning. You know, I could have even that thumbnail, I could be on top of here. So actually, well, let's do that so you can see. So this is, yeah, I obviously just need to switch it around so it's not reversed, but that's a Canva, or that's an Adobe Spark Post background image that I created in Adobe Spark Post. So you can absolutely bring in anything that you would want to. Question is about whether or not Apple EarPods would work. Totally. Why do people have the ear over cameras? It's just to be able to not have any like outside noise coming in, so that you can really hear just the noise that's coming out of your microphone. But you could, so you could, I'd have to think about that actually. The like an AirPod, if it doesn't hook up to your microphone, is not going to work for actually monitoring your sound. I don't believe. I haven't tried it, but I have this actually directly plugged in to my microphone. So I'm not sure if the AirPods would work for that, but that's a great question. I need to double check that. All right. So again, this show hopefully showed you just some of the basics about how to do some live streaming. I use Restream. I use Ecamm to build my live streams. If you want to check out Restream, there's a link in the video description. And I've also included links to all the equipment that I covered and some additional equipment in the video description as well. Those are all affiliate links, so any link you click through would help out the channel. You know, check out all those different programs and experiment with it. I'd also just love to hear in the comments for the video what sorts of questions you have about live streaming in general. Also, any ideas that people have about how they're using live streaming potentially for teacher professional development or for delivering instruction to students. So definitely let me know that in the comments. And lastly, if this kind of world of doing YouTube and live streaming and all that is something you would like to get some additional support or guidance with, I'd love to chat with you about that. There's a link in the video description to be able to book a call with me. And I will see you next week on the show. Next Thursday, we are going to be talking about digital portfolios with students. And so I'm excited to talk with you about some different programs you can use to build digital portfolios, as well as why you would want to use them and how you could use them for student-led conferences. I'll stay on. Actually, there's a couple of questions coming through just to answer them. So thanks for the folks that are still answering questions. Then we'll wrap up the show here. But yeah, real quick, we have a question here about using eLive to share your screen. I am not familiar. What you would need to double check is whether or not you're able to use chroma key. So that's the key factor. Some programs have chroma key, some do not, allowing you to key out the green that's behind you. I don't even know where I am right now. I'm in a castle. I'm in a castle right now. Okay. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you next week on the show.